Mackler.
Thank you all so much. I'm James Mackler. With your help, I'm going to be your next United States Senator. Before I begin, though, this has been such a great evening, and we owe so much to the staff of the fairgrounds here. Would everyone stand up and join me in a round of applause for the staff? Thank you all so much. It's such a pleasure for me to return here to the fairgrounds, almost exactly 6 months to the day from my first real public appearance at the TriStar dinner right here on this stage when I announced my candidacy. And since that time, so much has changed. Think about everything that's happened in the past 6 months. When I got into this race, I thought I was going to be running against a popular, sitting, well-funded incumbent senator who's now engaged in a Twitter war with the president. And folks thought that is impossible. But you know what? I wasn't looking for the easy road. I wasn't looking for a career opportunity. I wasn't looking for a political move. I was doing what I knew was right at the time because I care. And so much has changed now. Marshall Blackburn is my likely opponent. And I am so looking forward to being able to discuss the contrast between me and Marshall Blackburn. I'm not part of the political establishment. She spent the last 15 years as part of the swamp. I've spent my lifetime working to serve my country. She spent hers serving special interests. But other things are going to continue to change. We never know how this political landscape is going to shape up. I want to reassure all of you that no matter what, over the next 12 months, you can be certain that I will be working as hard as I possibly can, just as I have been for the last 6 months, to make sure that I am your next United States Senator. I'll continue to make the difficult choices because they're the right decisions, and that's what I'm going to do when I'm in the United States Senate as well. Keep working hard and keep making those hard choices when they have to be made. You're going to learn a lot about me over the course of this campaign. If you remember anything, it's that I believe in service. That's the value that my parents raised me to believe in. My mom, a public school teacher, my dad, a doctor, my grandfather, a police officer and World War II veteran. I want to serve in every way I can. I served by working for the Sierra Club after the Exxon Valdez oil spill. Thank you. I served by working for the Department of Labor to protect minors who were being taken advantage of by companies that would put profits ahead of safety. I've served by working on the Federal Public Defenders Panel to look out for those who are the most vulnerable in our society. I served also in the Army as a helicopter pilot, as all of you heard, and as many of you know, after the attacks of September 11th, I shut down my law practice. I walked into an Army recruiting station and I volunteered. I felt the way I imagine my grandfather must have felt after Pearl Harbor. I had to do more. I walked into that Army recruiting station and I said I wanted to go to flight school because I don't always choose the expected path, having never flown an aircraft. And this recruiter said, "That's fine, sir, but you'll need to get an age waiver." I was 30 at the time. I went off to this, so I got my age waiver, went to basic training with 18 and 19-year-old kids, and first off found out why they thought 30 was old. But then it was so inspiring to be with this group of young people who had defied the stereotype of being somehow selfish or lazy, who had left their homes and their communities in a time of war, sure to go off to combat, who had all come together from all different backgrounds and all different areas, all for a common cause. People who I was able to learn from and work with. And you know, each and every one of us all work together despite our diverse backgrounds. And I'll give you an example. When I flew helicopters, my job was to fly Black Hawk helicopters for the 101st. And when you fly a combat mission, when I was flying those missions, I never wondered whether the person next to me was a Republican or a Democrat. I never questioned whether the people behind me were conservative or liberal. We had each other's backs. We had a mission to accomplish, and we were going to get that job done. We should expect the exact same thing from our elected officials. But all too often, those in Washington choose to put politics ahead of people. They choose to put partisanship ahead of their country. They choose to stay in their bubbles. Now, fortunately for us, we do have some elected officials who have chosen to put people first. Many of them are here in this room. Thank you to all of you. And I always make it a point, whenever I see folks who really are serving in that capacity, to make sure to do the same thing that people say when they see me in my uniform, which is to say, thank you for your service. Thank you. Unfortunately, y'all are in the minority, and without substantial change, my wife and I are truly concerned for our future and for yours. We want to raise our children in a country that's governed by courage, not by fear. In a place that's driven by the strength of diversity and not the politics of division. But we can't get there until our elected officials learn what soldiers already know. Every mission, every goal is only accomplished when we work together, and the alternative is either gridlock or the tyranny of a gerrymandered majority. Now, I've spoken with hundreds, perhaps thousands of people in the 6 months since this campaign has begun. Many of them are Democrats who are so excited to have a strong candidate running for this office, someone who's going to work every single day to build the party, making the phone calls, traveling the state, doing the hard work, and they're energized and they're getting involved. So many others have never been involved in politics before, but they're ready to join this fight. And others have been voting Republican in the past. But they too see in me a candidate who stands for accountability and integrity, and they can get behind me as a candidate as well. Now, that's because they know, and you all know, that there are certain things that are just the right thing to do, things that you all care so deeply about, and that I'm going to be working for those for my entire time in the U.S. Senate, that arts and sciences are as valuable as stocks and bonds. That a hard day's work should earn a living wage. That public education is the surest path to opportunity. That healthcare is a right. And that we should each be free to live, love, speak, and pray as we choose. Each and every one of us has a voice. Now, I wake up every morning and I'll read the paper, look at Facebook. I've deleted my Twitter app. I'm done with that. But I see manufactured crisis after manufactured crisis created by those we call upon to lead. And I see those we ask to provide checks and balances failing entirely in that regard. But I'm not discouraged, and neither should you be. That shows me that all of us are doing exactly what we need to do at this moment in history to make the change that we have to see. And whether we're talking about Jeff Sessions rolling back the clock on criminal justice reform, or one party crafting a secret tax bill behind closed doors with no input from the American people, or existential threats to this country from outside and from inside, we need leaders who know that actions have to follow words. So when people ask you, who is James Mackler? And I hope you're talking about this campaign a lot. And when you're at church, at temple, at work, or at school, talking to your friends and your neighbors, and they say, who is this guy, James Mackler? Tell them that I'm the father of 2 beautiful little girls for whom I would do absolutely anything. Let them know that I'm married to a member of the clergy who teaches me every single day what it truly means to serve a community. You can tell them that I'm a patriot who knows that patriotism is not blind obedience to authority. And you can tell them that I'm a man of action, that I stood up after 9/11 because I knew something had to be done, and I stood up again and resigned from my law firm 6 months ago because I knew I had to do more. And this is a race that we can win with all of your help. I urge each and every one of you to go to jamesmackler.com, sign up for the campaign, share your ideas, contribute, and encourage all of your friends and family to do the same. This is our time. Thank you all so very much.